Hi, I'm Avilash, your UPSC Civil Service Examination mentor, and through this episode today, we are talking about interview or personality test series. These are quick series, and it will talk about how, if you are qualified for the interview this time, how you can benefit of this opportunity at the most. Today's session is about why UPSC interview isn't a knowledge test, what they actually judge. So, basically, first of all those who have qualified first time, yes, there's a whole lot of excitement. And repeaters who are the second time, they have done it again. Or people who have been giving interviews and but unable to move to next front, again, they have their own challenge to work upon. And then absolutely candidates who are already in the system and they want to improve their rank. They know what needs to be done extra so that they can move up the ladder. Now, we are going to talk about this from the view that what exactly UPSC, why this test happens, and what exactly they are looking at. What are the things which can be improved upon in the stipulated time? Your schedules are with you, and the entire calendar has been there in the UPSC website. It has already started, I know. But then people who are now looking forward from 5th of January onwards, so they would find it beneficial that how they can utilize their time on what areas which can be improved upon now. It is not just about giving mock interviews, or it is not just about reading current affairs. It is more about expressing yourself, your personality in that 30 minutes. Before we move forward, let's see what is there in the notification about UPSC personality test. See, when you see the notification, this is what is written about the stage 3 or part C of the examination, interview personality test. And this is from the notification. So I want to highlight few words, and this is where the key elements one needs to focus when preparing. Firstly, they say the candidate will be asked questions on matters of general interest. Okay. Then they are looking for candidate for a career in public service. It is not a test for entrance test for some academic qualification or higher education, not a MBA interview, not a MTech interview, neither a visa interview, nothing like that. It's about a career, employment. And then they are unbiased observers. The interview is about the mental caliber of a candidate. This is the first time that your roll number will have a face. So they are going to look at you from that aspect. And it is not just about intellectual qualities, but what they're looking at is your mental alertness. That happens during the approach that happens in this interview. The pattern जिसे ये बना हुआ है, जिस तरीके के बोर्ड सिटिंग का अरेंजमेंट है, how you're sitting, how you're looking, all that matters, which shows your mental alertness, whether you are able to hear them properly, whether you're able to respond to questions. If you are unclear, whether you ask for permissions to get the information clearly, your critical powers of assimilation, whatever you have gathered information from as a question or anything, what is your assimilation power, how you actually look at it. For example, I will say, if I tell you to close your eyes and imagine a wall, you can do it with me right now. If I tell you to close your eyes and imagine a wall in front of you, then I say, will you able to jump the wall? Now, many of you will think there can be multiple answers. Now, many of you think the moment I've used the word jump the wall, you have already assumed that wall is higher than your height and you have to jump through it. This is exactly when you look at the information. This can also be a wall, can be, I can ask you, what is the length of the wall? You may say it is like 10-foot wall, 8-foot wall. But the answer can be also a brick, 10 centimeter wall. Nowhere the height has been mentioned. But your information, the moment you get an information, you bring an image on it yourself and you are making it difficult for you to jump the wall. Are you getting my point? So So that is the critical power of assimilation. How you handle the information and how you come out smartly out of it. Clear and logical exposition. This word exposition is expression of words. The word exposition in English means exposition is expression of words thoughtfully. ऐसे नहीं कुछ भी आया मन में बोल दिया. यू आर नॉट ए बिरबल. हाजिर जवाबी की बात नहीं हो रही कि उन्होंने क्वेश्चन पूछा और आपने तबाक से आंसर दे दिया. वाह क्या आंसर फटाक से बोल दिया. नो. Whenever you answer, you have to see that you are able to maintain the dignity of that career in public service as an officer. Then balance of judgment. You know why you are giving this exam. It is a public service exam. You know what is the nature or diversity of public of this country. You are aware about in your all the reading what you have done for mains and prelims. So your judgment or balance of judgment will come from that knowledge that you have to show when you speak. Variety and depth of interest, ability for social cohesion and leadership. This comes with situation reaction test. So there will be many questions, the patterns of the questions where they will assess your leadership, situation reaction, how you are going to respond to a situation. If you are a district collector, what this riot happens. If you are a district collector, flood happens. If you are a district collector, somebody is telling you to giving you money to hide this information. Somebody is threatening you with your life, saying that if you do this, your career will be gone. Things like that. So what are you going to do? How you are going to work? Then your intellectual and moral integrity. So this is already written in the interview. You have to understand these words are already mentioned. And my entire program is talking how to from this we are decoding what happens in UPSC interviews and how you are going to present yourself in that moment. The test is a directed purposive conversation. They have mentioned the word purposive conversation. वहां पे क्या बातें हो रही है? कुछ मुद्दा है, किसी चीज पे बात हो रही है. ऐसे नहीं यार आज मौसम कैसा है, कैसा है, सब बढ़िया सर, सब बढ़िया और बढ़िया. हाँ जी, ये बातें नहीं हो रही. This is not the word. This is not the conversation. There has to be when there is a purposive conversation means there has to have some conclusion. There has to be some outcome. And this, while you are doing it, your mental qualities of candidate comes. Now, next is like there is one line which mentions in the notification candidates are expected. What are candidates expected? They are expected to know about the events happening around them, both within and outside their own state and country. So wherever you belong from, which country, which state we are going there, sorry, which state, your awareness about your state and what is happening in the international arena, irrespective of if you have known PSIR or you know all this thing, doesn't matter. Your interest should be there. And what is new discoveries, which should arouse the curiosity of well-educated youth. Like today, recently, we saw that China did a maglev train test with reaching around 750 kilometers per hour speed. So what is it going to benefit if India will have that such kind of thing? So like that, these are the certain words which needs to be understood very clearly. Then only you can understand whenever you read anybody's transcript, क्या हुआ interview में or any success story. If you are aware about these elements, then you will be able to take the meat out of it कि मेरे लिए क्या मतलब है. Now moving forward, uh, what is the purpose of the interview? The exam is called personality test. It is not interview and definitely not viva works. Why? Because UPS is already satisfied with your knowledge. You have cleared prelims and mains. You know that enough. You know your knowledge. So the interview is all about who are you. It is about you, how you think, how stable and balanced you are. The board is checking how your mind works under pressure. It's not that how if you are a memory machine or how much do you remember, how much uh, memory test. It is not doing that. It is seeing that under pressure how you are going to respond. See, the word I've used is respond. Okay, not react. So this is very, very critical. So let us just try to understand from various experience of what I have had my own time, and then various aspirants who I have mentored, and various transcripts. What exactly the board really looks for? See, they are actually looking for officer-like qualities, and that is through UPSC's as a bureaucrat. So the members who are sitting in front of you, the board members, are actually seasoned bureaucrats and experts who can immediately find this. So they are looking for something integrity, how your balance of judgment. So these are actually, this is a borrowed concept from military of oil exchange. And it was clearly mentioned by YK Alag committee in his recommendation in 2001 for reform of civil service examination. And these are also, in the HR terms, are behavioral indicators. So what do they observe? They observe integrity. Do you stick to truth calmly? Balance and judgment. Do you go extreme or stay neutral? Clarity. Can you explain in simple terms? And social intelligence. How do you talk, listen, and respond? Emotional stability. Do you panic? Do you become defensive? So these qualities matter far more than your knowledge. So your 30 minutes is enough to understand these aspects. Let me tell you something. Whenever you meet a person, the first impression is the last impression. We see have heard this quote. So similarly, your presence in that boardroom, your first 5 seconds, kind of determines the vibe, the energy, the enthusiasm, how the things are going to happen. And that is the most powerful part of the interview. So what matters is how you enter, your posture, your smile, your energy, the way you say good morning, sir, ma'am, all tell the board, is this person confident or nervous, balanced or over prepared, calm or tense? So these 5 seconds create a silent impression that shapes the whole interview. You may not like this, but yes, that actually happens. Even in the real life, आप जब किसी से मिलते हो, the first 5-10 seconds itself you decide whether you want to, continue the conversation or whether you don't want. You may not even give a second opportunity. But in UPSC, because the interview has to happen 30 minutes, 25 minutes, 35 minutes, you still, if something happens and that, maybe that 5 second doesn't happen, you may still get an opportunity to prove yourself why you deserve to be there. So, but still, in a natural way, in a general way, in the interview room, the first 5 seconds is where the immediate impression happens, and things around that only starts. I mentioned in the first context that why knowledge doesn't matter much. See, the board is not competing with you on your facts, how much knowledge you have, how much articles do you know, how much numbers you quote, how much data you quote. No, it is not doing that. You have already done that in the mains. They know that you are clear about your subject. So if this would have been a knowledge test, it would have been an academic exam like a Viva voice. But what they are trying to see, how you think, your pattern of thinking, how you react. You have done, maybe imagine you're an engineer who is qualified for interview with the art subject or humanity subject. So continuously you are fearing that they may ask any question from my civil engineering or my engineering background. The moment you have such kind of thought and immediately they ask something on civil engineering, you don't know whether to say, sir, I don't know if I remember my civil engineering, my graduation, or it's been a long time. So that fear to accept the fact that you are not aware about your graduation subject itself makes the interview go down. So they want to see that test, how you handle that situation, and how stable is your personality comes with such kind of scenario. And a calm, the calm and clear answer, whoever is very calm, is actually already accepted the flaws. That's why he's calm. If you try to hide something, if you don't want that impression to come, then you fight. Then you engage, then you try to, you know, add more element to it. That is where your response turns into reactions. आई होप यू आर गेटिंग माई पॉइंट, आप समझ पा रहे हैं मैं क्या कह। सो अगर हम समराइज करें, what should be the mindset on which you can, or one aspirant should go inside the session or the classroom? पहली बात, you should be very calm, clarity of thoughts should be there, you should be original, authentic, and you should be non-defensive. Try to hear them, try to listen. You know, over explaining, talking too much shows insecurity. बहुत बारी क्या होता है, the silence happens. The moment you send your, you say, tell me about yourself is over, and there's a silence, and you try to fill in the silence. That creates, that shows that how impatient you are. Trying to impress, you're trying to end up sounding artificial, becoming robotic. You studied some books, some institute, coaching institute, some templates have been told to you, ऐसे ऐसे बोलना है, ऐसे ऐसे करना है, and you're trying to learn, and like a drama, you're trying to script it out. You'll be easily caught. Becoming ideological, extreme views, because the immediately, you know, you, whatever is your, you forget the public service has to be neutrality, and you become extreme in your thoughts without even your knowledge. And then defensive tone. No, sir. Actually, I meant, sir. What I actually want to say, sir. I want to say. I want to add a point, sir. Sir, whenever you use all this kind of item, your interview is gone. That defensive tone, you have to see how you frame your sentence. Take your time to take a response. Make a response in your brain. You have to avoid such things, and only then that happens when your clarity or your mindset is clear. और ये एक दिन में नहीं होता. This is where I'm talking about. These things needs to be practiced. I mentioned about that. You know, these are the areas where common mistakes happen. तो ये प्रैक्टिस आप कैसे करोगे? तो प्रैक्टिस आप ऐसे कर सकते हो। पहली बात तो आप प्रैक्टिस अपने आप के साथ कर सकते हो, सीइंग द मिरर, ऑडियो रिकॉर्ड करके। कैसे आपको, हाउ डू यू, बिकॉज यू आर नॉट ए किड एनी मोर, यू आर ऑल्सो ग्रेजुएट 21 प्लस ईयर्स के, हाउ डज इट साउंड टू यू? सेकेंड, फाइंड ए मेंटर, जिन्होंने पहले किया है। आपके फ्रेंड्स होंगे, कोई पब्लिक सर्वेंट होंगे, आपके पेरेंट्स होंगे, आपके मदर होंगे। अब बात करो उनसे, सीनियर लोगों से, टीचर से बात करो, कॉलेज टाइम, स्कूल टाइम, जिनसे आप, यू कैन ओपनली से, दे विल हैव अ जजमेंटल व्यू, विल हेल्प यू इन दैट। Or you go to people who have experience this exam or are in the service, or anybody who has exposure of UPSC interview, or mentors, and then you be very open with them. They will definitely help you. They are all there to help you with their experiences. And we also have a program you can join. It's a personalized program. I'll talk about it later. So why do they ask unexpected questions? Like some random question है ना, UPSC में पूछा था, like how they, like how many steps, how many fans did you see in the waiting room? What is the color of wall behind you? And you know, sometimes these questions sounds very, you know, silly in nature, but this is not to trick you. They just want to see whether you, what, how do you react? Does it, you know, imbalance you, your emotional stability, your thinking process? That's why they ask. इसका कोई correct answer होता है नहीं. Why should we select you? What is the color of your personality? Why this service? Why not this? Tell me something you recently changed your mind about. It is not about the content. There is no one straight answer. They are just trying to see your over persona, whether it is calm, whether you get influenced, whether you are, like, you know, what you are able to understand, put your information in a critical power of assimilation of information, or you get pressurized, or you just take it with a pinch of salt. So our objective with these kind of programs is to score 190 plus marks. So who are the people who get this 190 plus marks in the interview? They actually are the people. The moment they go and they over the when their interview is over, the entire board says, "ये बंदा सही है. These guys will be perfect for public service. I would like to work with a person like." Firstly, they are very genuine. ऐसे डैश में ज्यादा दिमाग लगा के नहीं किया, ओनली ऑनेस्ट, इनोसेंट एंड जेन्युइन. बट अगर अभी क्रिकेट के बारे में बोलेंगे तो एकदम, इफ दे हैव रिटन क्रिकेट एज देयर हॉबी, दे लाइक द गेम. इट्स नॉट जस्ट अबाउट स्टैट्स और ट्रेंड, नो. Then they have the inner peace. They are not fighting for, they're very peaceful, very calm. They're already taken, they've accepted the reality of what is happening with them, and they are with that. And most importantly, those who think like an officer. They approach problem with a solution mindset, considering the administrative feasibility and public welfare. Hero नहीं बनने जा, सुपरमैन नहीं, सब अकेले करने के नहीं. They have to be under the public service rules, and there are rules and regulations. How do they manage with that? So, few things which have to see, that your calmness, your clarity of information, and your genuineness. This is what makes you stand out. So, remember, I would say that UPSC interview is equal to personality plus presence plus balance. It's not fact checking test. So, people, if you have liked the episode, kindly subscribe us, encourage us, and wait for the next episode. And I would like to also talk about this one-on-one mentorship program. Uh, this is not a mock interview, but it is more about your personalized transformative sessions, and you can uh, see the description, the link of how to submit for apply for it, and see the and know more about it. Thank you for the thank you for watching the session. Thank you again for watching the session. If you have any thoughts, put it in the comment. All the details about me and how to reach me is there in the description, and you can also see that the WhatsApp details and email details are there, so you can always reach out. Thank you.